Okay, my name is Danny the Mechanic. This is basically a calibration test. I'm calibrating. The air conditioning is not performing its proper efficiency. So we're going to go ahead and put the gauges on, get everything rolling so we can see what's the problem. I'm going to guide you in detail. It's air conditioning for a 2004 Kia Optima. Let's get it started. First thing we're going to do, we're going to put the gauges on. We're going to find the low side. You got to be careful when you do this. Make sure the car is not running. It's always safety first. We're going to get the low side Schrader port. It's called the access port to the air conditioning. It's the low side, the L. The reason why I'm doing it now with the car off, so we don't get injuries. It's very important. You got to keep the safety. This is the high side valve. It's the access port right here. This is to access the air conditioning on the high side and on the low side, both sides. So we're gonna go ahead and connect the blue one. The blue one goes to the low side. Connection. And by the way, these are professional gauges, manifold gauges. These are professional manifold gauges. Want to keep that to a minimum where it doesn't rub up against the pulleys or anything like that. It's always about safety. Here goes that red one, the high side. The high side access port. Like I said, once again, these are professional gauges. These are not for amateurs, these are for professionals. And by the way, yes, I am EPA certified, licensed by the Environmental Protection Agency, and I meet the requirements of the Federal Clean Air Act. I meet those requirements, I follow those requirements. So right now we're gonna just check it. I'm gonna go ahead and start the vehicle. We're gonna get it running so we can have everything, done right, by the book. You gotta always make sure that the air conditioning, it's at maximum capacity. Everything has got to be on high and on max. You got to always confirm that your air conditioning in the vehicle, it's on high. The speed is on high, it's on maximum AC, and your temperature is on cold. Lower one of these windows. And now we should start getting a pretty good reading over here. Okay, now, first thing you do, you check the gauges on the temperature and pressure. And this is basically a calibration test. To make sure. Okay, right now we're getting a reading of, 215 pounds per square inch on the high side, and we're getting 29 degrees Fahrenheit on the cold side. This is the actual temperature of inside the vehicle. This is the actual high side temperature on the condenser side, the hot side, which is this side right here. The red is the condenser, and the condenser is considered the high side of the air conditioning system. We want to keep this high side to a minimum. Anything in excess over 250 pounds, you're playing it too close. That's a problem. You want to keep it from 250 on down. These are pounds per square. This is hot. You got to make sure your fans are running. This car has two fans, condenser fan and a radiator fan. You got to make sure that these systems are running up to par. So, calibration test. This is excellent temperature. It should be very cold inside the car. We got 23 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, That's excellent temperature. Your pressure's excellent. This is calibration. If there are any abnormalities, I would have picked up on it right away. The fans are running. As you could come on this side, you could look. These fans are a crucial part of the air conditioning system. Crucial part. There's two of them. These fans, especially this one, is the condenser fan. This is the radiator fan. But they both play a crucial role on the system. They got to be working properly and efficiently so they could dissipate the heat. Very important. You got to check the system. Make sure your fans are running properly to maintain an efficiency on the air conditioning. Now, we always look around for leaks. We look for leaks, any abnormalities. If there's a leak, you can smell it. You can see, the leaks or whatever the case may be. You want to make sure that your system is up to par. And you monitor it for like 10, 15 minutes so you can get a true reading from the system, an accurate reading. This will tell you if there's a problem internally, externally, electronically. You got to look at the system overall. Right now, the system is running good. High side is good. Temperature is great here. This is excellent. We're gonna go and I'm gonna bring my leak detector so we can start looking for leaks. The refrigerant leak detector. This is a very, very important product when it comes to diagnosing air conditioning systems in vehicles. You gotta have the proper tools, in order to do the job right. So like I said, this is the proper equipment for the job on site. You gotta be able to check for leaks on the refrigerant. You gotta have your equipment. Always read your instructions, your manuals before you use a product. We're gonna go ahead and get this started so we can look for leaks, get things going over here. Normally to look for leaks, you gotta shut the vehicle down. So I'm gonna shut the vehicle down so we could get a true reading, a true diagnosis of the system. Because due to the fact, if you have the car running, the fans are blowing. You can't get a reading on the Freon. You won't be able to detect the leak. So you gotta shut the vehicle down. The vehicle does have Freon. It's on pressure. So we're gonna go ahead and shut the vehicle down. Also for safety purposes. You have a sensitivity level here. We're gonna go ahead and raise it up so it'll pick it up easily. See, you can bring the sensitivity down. So now we're gonna raise it up high. So if there's a leak, we can pick up on it. First place you will start is by the condenser. Normally, if there's a leak, you will see an oily surface. You will have some type of smoke, some type of fumes coming out. This machine will pick it up. From time to time, you will get a beep because it's windy right now. You would check the filter dryer, which is this right here. That's the filter dryer and the cycling switch. You will come around that because that has an O-ring. It might could be leaking. Like I said, you might get a beep here and there. And you want to thoroughly check, the system out because you don't want the customer coming back for complaints. So you want to check it out thorough. I could go, this is really, I could go in between. and check if there's room. You would check the lines out, the connections, their connections. You want to check through the connections to see if any leaks. You want to go slowly. And meanwhile I'm checking, I'm looking for impairments. I'm looking for, red flags, anything, a broken line, leaks. Anything out of the ordinary, you will see it. So you have to keep an open mind that you're looking for abnormalities while the machine is doing its job. You want to check the system thoroughly. Always take your time.
Tell us what that little noise is, that beeping noise.
Yeah, the beep is, like you might hit it too quick or you might get a breeze. Too fast of a breeze, so that means it's detecting. So if it beeps too much, you bring it one notch down where you can eliminate the beeping. This here is a sniffer. It's sniffing for leaks. So this, any R134A, any, hydrofluorine, chlorine, carbons, it picks it up right away. This is to detect. And you want to stay on the system. The low side line, the thermostatic expansion valve. You want to check for a leak. You want to find it. You could go down to the compressor. We have the compressor down here. These are the connections to the compressor. It's sniffing. It's looking for leaks. If the compressor's leaking, it will make this type of noise. I'm gonna purge it out here. Look at this here. Now, watch the machine. You see? It's detecting that there's Freon there because I just punctured the access port. But then you could reset. You see? It's windy. You could bring the sensitivity level down. When we go to the compressor, we're looking to see if that compressor has some type of defect or leak. So far, so good. By the clutch, the main seal, the connection, the safety valve, all that gets checked out. You could check this line out right here. You want to check it by the fittings, by the connections. So far we good. We're looking really good. But this is what you want to do with every vehicle. Some vehicles, might have an accident, a fender bender. They could have done a mechanical job on it, left something loose. They could have broken something, kinked the line. So you have to be very, very aware as to the fact. So you got to have visual, and it takes a lot of common sense. You got to pay attention. You might have a line that's kinked. You might have a bent line where it's not flowing right. You got to look at your condenser. You got to look at the whole system. So far, so good. We haven't detected no leaks. That's a good thing for the customer. And always keep in mind that you want to do a good, thorough job. It's very important for the thoroughness of the job. So you gotta see, smell. You gotta pay attention to all the senses. And like I said, the main tool is the manifold gauges. The manifold gauges is very important because this is the key to the technician. This is the primary tool to the technician. This is how we get our training. It's our gauges, temperature and pressure relationship, very important. And there's an electrical aspect of it too. When something is electrical, you have to get into in depth, check the relays, check the fuses and so forth. So I'm gonna go into the electrical aspect of that right now. I'm gonna put this away. We're gonna pull out the power probe. Like I said, the tools are the essential elements of this trade. You gotta have the proper tools to do the job. This right here is called the power probe. This is a proper tool for the electrician to probe and examine and test. So this is the power probe, very important. It's proper tool. You know, this tool is very important in checking out the electrical aspects of an air conditioning system. You know, so like I said, you gotta have the tools for the job, the appropriate tools. This is a probing tool. This is to probe. This is to check if the compressor got current, if the compressor, you know, it's not cycling. We're gonna check for voltages. We're gonna check for the proper voltage. Always make sure you know which is your positive and your negative. The red is positive, which is this one. Black is negative, which goes here. The power probe turns on. It got 2 LED lights. It's got voltage. It's the power probe. You know, you got plus power, and then you got minus power. And it has a liquid display, you know, where it tells you voltage, amperage, and so forth. You can adjust to the voltage and so forth. So now we're gonna go and we're gonna check the junction box, fuse and relay box. And this vehicle is located right here next to the battery. As you can see, you have the diagram, the schematics. This is a diagram as to where the fuse is, the relays, and so forth. It's very important that you understand this. And we could start checking. This is a map. This is a map of what's going on here. And in order for you to do that, you gotta have the car running so you can get a true reading, true power, and so forth. So I'm gonna go ahead and start the vehicle right away. Okay, the air conditioning is on. Everything is on, as we can see. Manifold gauges is letting us know. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start probing, checking the fuses to make sure there's not a blown fuse. And this is gonna tell me which fuse is which. Fuse number 1 is the fuel pump, which is that one, fuel pump. You know, we're gonna go with an AC compressor, which is number 5. There it is right there, number 5. Number 5 is right here. That's it. We check it. There's power. .1. There's electricity going through there. Okay, the one above it is number 4, which is injectors. But number 5 is AC compressor, 10 amps, which is that one, number 5. And we got current in there, it's power. Now we're gonna check for the relay. The compressor relay, right here, see it? Aircon, air/con, air conditioning. So it's this relay right here. If I disconnect this relay, the compressor turns off. You see? The compressor turned off. Look at the gauges. Right away it's gonna tell you. They're gonna start moving up. They're shutting down. You see? Everything is moving, the temperature. Now, the compressor's not on. So if you get a reading like this, you will know, and you will physically check over here down to the compressor to see if the clutch is on. The clutch is not moving. Yep, the clutch is not moving.
Where's the clutch?
The clutch is like in front of the pulley, all the way in the bottom. So now, when I stick this relay back in, the clutch is gonna engage. Right away. Now look at everything moving, right away on the gauges. Right away. And you can stay there, so you can see the difference when I unplug the relay. how everything starts to move. That means no power. Right away, power, you can see the difference. That's the relay to the compressor. So if there's a problem, you will know as a smart technician, you will start looking and probing and checking. So we know we have power and everything. Also, we have diodes. Diode number 2, which is 21. Right here, that's a diode. These are diodes. They got the diode symbol. You know, you gotta check. Whenever you see 13 has an empty cavity, you would check the number. Headlamp washers. This car does not got headlamp washers, so that's why it's empty. That's an option, you know. So we know that we got power coming into the compressor from the fuse and the relay. And this diagram here tells us where everything is at. Number 5 is the fuse for the compressor, and this is the relay to the compressor. So you would check if there's a problem. You check the fuse, then you check the relay, and then we could go down straight to the compressor and so forth. So this is basic information. This is general knowledge. As to a technician, when a customer comes in, you get the complaint. You analyze the complaint. My air conditioning is not getting cold, and so forth. So what you do is, you check, you put your gauges, you check to see if it got pressure, because the air conditioning can't work without Freon. Every car has a cycling switch. When you put the Freon, that switch detects the Freon and sends the signal to the relay, and the relay turns on the compressor. So it's a cycle. You know, no Freon, it won't engage. The Freon is a must. Your gauges is a must. So this course is basically a general overview as to when a compressor is working efficiently or there's a problem. You got to make sure you got the appropriate equipment, and you got to have the know-how. You know, I have my license with me, EPA certified technician, and this air conditioning system is running excellent. Excellent. You know, also we have a thermometer where we put inside the register in the car and lets you know the actual degrees, but that's why the clock is there. This is telling you the actual degrees inside the car. The cold that's coming out of there from the evaporator. So that tells us everything. So this concludes this inspection of the air conditioning on this vehicle. My name is Danny. It's a pleasure.